Hi, today I want to talk to you about the latest acquisition I got my hands on. This is a Dell Optiplex 790. Now, there are plenty of videos online about what this machine can and can't do. Now, I'm going to go over a couple things. If you want to play certain games on this machine, this has the Intel HD graphics. That absolutely sucks. But if you want to play something like this, these games have a lot to do with the emulator, whether they'll run correctly or even freeze. It will have a lot to do with the emulator, not just the computer itself. Now, this emulator is one of the worst emulators here for Xbox. Now, you're going to see this is not very well. I mean, it is playing, but I mean, it's alright. Just not at full speed, you can see, but it is playable. And I'm trying to do this with one hand, so now this is an Xbox emulator. I'm going to go over what this can and can't play as is. Okay, now let's get out of this emulator. Now this is CXBX Reloaded Xbox emulator. This will play on this computer as is. Now, I want to go over some specs with this computer before you just run out and get you one. Let's close this. CXBX only runs certain Xbox files, and not many of them. It runs the XBE, I believe it's called. Yeah. XBE only. Now, you can go to their website and see a compatibility list. Now, not all the games on their list are going to run fine on this computer. This computer only has a Core i3. Now, it does have 8 gigabytes of RAM. That is a must. If you're going to try to run an Xbox emulator, you have to have at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. And this does have a Core i3 with 4 threads. This is CXBX Reloaded. Now, I'm going to talk to you a bit here about how to get something better. If you want to play something like Xbox or something like that, you definitely should put a graphics card in here. This is a small form factor, so you need a low profile card. Now, my hand is literally wider than this computer. So you have to have a small form factor card. Low profile is what they are. And it only takes up to certain cards. There are numerous people out there that will spend $200 on a graphics card. If you're watching my videos, you don't have $200 to spend. Now, if you run across one of these Optiplex 790s, first of all, even if you have to upgrade the RAM does not cost a whole lot for a machine this old. So make sure you have 8 gigabytes of RAM. That will help a great deal. This has the Core i3. It comes with i3, i5, I believe higher than that. So it depends on the one you get. This has 4 USB plugs on the front, has 6 on the back. So it has plenty of USB. A graphics card for this computer to help you run other things, or better Xbox games, or a better Xbox emulator. This is the card I would go with. The GeForce GT 730, 2 gigabytes, with a DDR5. Now, my girlfriend's computer over here has a GeForce GT 730 with the GDDR3, not 5. So hers is slower than this. This is a much better card. This is like $30 brand new for a card like this. If you can find one even used that's working condition, it will put a lot of life into your machine. And damn it, I was going to turn the light on here. I apologize. Alright, let's see if that helps. I am sorry, I forgot to turn the light on. Alright, so the Xbox emulator you saw is CXBX. What else can this machine play? Now, this is on onboard graphics. Okay? So, let's just pick something. Now, I do have the volume turned down. This does have a speaker on it. I do have the volume turned down. I do not want to get a copyright strike. So it can play certain things as is, as long as you have 8 gigabytes of RAM or higher. So of course you see what that is. Now this is installed. Let's pick something else here. Now my antivirus ran earlier and hit some of my stuff, so I'm not sure what it hit, what it didn't hit. So we'll see if this goes ahead and loads properly. And it says loading. There we go. Now some of these games are not going to run fully. Yeah, I'm not online. So, it will play some things. Now, I have never actually played this game, so I actually don't even know how to start this thing. But it is on this computer. I did install it, checking the computer. See, this has to do with the RNet stuff. I don't care about saving or all this other stuff. Like I said, I have no clue about playing this game. I've actually never loaded this game. Now, you are not going to take a computer like this and play a bunch of games, high-end games, newer games, or Steam games. Some games, yes. Some games, no. Same as Xbox, same as PlayStation 2. It all depends on your emulator, your connection. So it all depends on a lot of things when it comes to this computer. I do advise, like I say, I'm going to stress this extremely well. Even if you get your hands on one of these, this is an i3. At least 8 gigabytes of RAM. That is very important for running certain games. A graphics card, and I will tell you why a graphics card if you can afford one. Now, if you can't afford one, you still can play some stuff on here. I've already shown Xbox, and I'm not gonna. Ooh, that's a vibrate. I was gonna try to make this a pretty quick video. Yeah. I don't care about this communication crap. Oh, that is seriously vibrating. Well, somebody's dying. Okay, the game is playing. I am going to close this down this way. I do not want to let it run until I can actually shut it down. So I'm just going to close it down that way because I do not want to let that just keep running. So far, Xbox, some PC games. Alright, let's go over this. First, before I get into anything else, I'm going to cover Xbox. The reason being is because CXBX has very bad compatibility. That is CXBX Reloaded. Let me see if I can find right here. One with better compatibility is actually Xemu. That's XEMU. Now, the reason you can't play this emulator on this machine is because this does not have OpenGL, period. This has the NVIDIA HD graphics. So to play the emulator Xemu, you will have to have a graphics card such as this. This has better play, more compatibility compared to the other one, compared to CXBX. Okay, now let's get into some other things. Right here you see Dolphin. This is actually an older version of Dolphin. This is Dolphin 3.5. Now I do have Windows 7 installed on here. When I got my hands on this computer, it had Windows 10. I absolutely despise Windows 10, so I upgraded it back to Windows 7. If you are installing Windows 7, do not let it update at all through Microsoft. They will screw up your computer. I may cover that, how to fix that if you get bad updates from them. If I remember, I will probably cover that in just a few minutes after I go through this. Alright, now here we have GameCube. This machine, even though it doesn't have OpenGL, with the older version of Dolphin 3.5, it will play GameCube. Newer versions, not so much. Now, see, up here it is using 8 genuine Intel 8 cores. Okay? But this is like a 4-core, 8-thread, something like that. So, yeah. I'll let that boot up there. And I'm going to show you, this will actually play certain things. And I don't like the way that game starts. It like flickers right in here. And that's just annoying. But I'll get back to it. No, it's still flicking. I don't like the way they did that. Okay. Now this is GameCube. Remember, this does not have a graphics card. What it has is an i3 4-core with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Your RAM is very important when it comes to running certain things. Don't skimp on it. Now, I don't know if you can hear that or not. There's a little speaker built into this. It is not very loud. These are business machines or school machines. Now, this is the Optiplex 790. Now, this does play just fine. I'm not going to go over everything. I'm not going to start everything because I do not want to make this an hour-long video. It's already been 15 minutes. So, let's exit there. I will go over something very quickly. Dreamcast. Now, I have tried for hours upon hours to get Dreamcast to set up on this machine with the Dreamcast emulator, with which Redream. I've tried various Dreamcast emulators to get it to play. Now, for some reason, this machine, you can install Dreamcast, but the picture is choppy. Some of the pictures missing. You cannot play it that way. Now, there is a workaround that I'm going to show you how you can get Dreamcast on here that plays just fine. That is, you have to install Launchbox. If you don't know what Launchbox is, look at my Launchbox videos, but I'm going to show you real quick. You have to install Launchbox directly on the hard drive, not on a flash drive. You are not making it as an external drive. You know, Launchbox flash drive, you're installing it directly on the flash drive. Then you're importing your Dreamcast games into Launchbox. Now, when you do this, if you add pictures or information or anything, you need to have it online while you're setting up Launchbox. After that, no, you don't need to be online. This is the latest version, 13.8. Now you can see I have N64 on here because N64 is a pain in the butt to set up on most computers through the emulators. If you set up N64, you have to change the core on this 100% on Launchbox. Let's go Dreamcast. Now, once again, the reason I set it up through Launchbox is because I could not get the emulators to work correctly on this machine for Dreamcast. With Launchbox, it loads, it plays, it works perfectly. And I haven't found a game yet that it won't play as far as Dreamcast on here. Oh, I'm gonna so die. You hit me, you beach. Oh. Okay. I beat him. Let's get out of here. Exit, ESC, double click, ESC, get out of there. Let's exit Launchbox. Now I do have some N64 and PSP stuff set up in here. Just, you know, these are games that PPSSP does not have on this computer, but it does have some PSP stuff. Let's go for PlayStation 2. Now the reason I'm talking about this does not have a graphics card. This has onboard graphics, but it does have, once again, very important, 8 gigabytes of RAM. RAM is very important. Let's see, I believe a ISO is already selected. Yeah, and you can see I have some stuff here. Now I'm not actually going to start this game because when this game starts, they talk forever. Now, this is a game my girlfriend plays, but I'm not too much into playing games on computers. But these people, literally, on these RPGs my girlfriend likes, oh man, they talk forever and ever and ever. Now, I do have the speaker turned down, hopefully so I don't get like a copyright strike or anything. Games work fine for the PS2. This is PCXX2 1.4.0. Okay. So we've covered Xbox, we've covered PlayStation 2, we've covered GameCube. Of course, there's PS1 set up on here, some Super Nintendo, stuff like that. But how you set your machine up is up to you. Is this machine worth the money for buying one? That's up to you. If you can get the right machine with at least the i3, now I'm going to shut this down and go to Control Panel. And better yet, you know what? I have CPU-Z on here. I installed it so you can see, hopefully, what is on here. This has the Intel Core i3. Okay, let's go to main board. Sandy Bridge, I believe. Yep, Sandy Bridge. Memory. This has 8 gigabytes of DDR3. Dual channel. I'm not sure what SPD is. I believe it has to do with the memory. Yeah, it's memory. Let's go for graphics. Intel HD graphics. Okay. And I'm not doing a benchmark or anything else. I'm closing this. Now, if you get one of these computers, has Windows 10, I'm not sure what to tell you on that because I absolutely hate Windows 10. But if you've tried to reinstall Windows 7, you may run into an issue. If this thing goes online, let me see if I can find right here. If this thing goes online and Microsoft tries to update this after reinstalling Windows 7, I want to show you something. You may be in for a bad time. As soon as I plugged this in and hooked up my Wi-Fi card, Windows went straight to Microsoft and tried to download updates. And there is many, many, many more. No, that's enough. Let's go back and close this. So do not update this, and if you do, and if your computer shuts down, tries to install updates, then restarts, removes those updates, shuts down, tries to install updates, reboots, uninstalls updates, and it's in a loop, it eventually will start. If it starts, be ready for it. And what you need to do is download a program called Update Generator before this happens. WSUS Offline Update Generator. Now, version 11.8.3.1093, I believe, is the last version that will work with Windows 7. You have to download the 11.83, nothing newer. I believe this is the last version that works with Windows 7, and what you're going to do is install this. You're going to open this. Now, I'm not dumb enough to do this because it takes literally anywhere from 4 to 14 hours. If you have Windows 7, up here where it says Windows Server, check that. Then you can check any of these down here you want. You want to uncheck include Microsoft Security Essentials because they no longer update that. Check Verify Downloaded Updates. You can include Visual CC libraries and Net Framework if you want, and Service Packs. And use security only updates instead of quality rollups right here. Do not download including Windows Defender definitions. You do not want Windows Defender or Microsoft Security Essentials. Then hit Start. This will literally take anywhere from 4 to 14 hours. I kid you not. But once it's done, those bad failed updates from Microsoft will no longer try to install. This is if you have Windows 7. I believe it works with Windows 10. Even higher, Windows 7 or higher, okay? But make sure you get the right one for your computer before you overwrite your hard drive or try to install Windows 7 again, if that's what you want to do. Alright, let's get talking about this computer again. I'm going to shut this down. Now, I do have my Xbox PDP controller here. So far, it has worked on everything. Once I got the driver installed, it has worked perfectly. Now I'm going to show you inside here. Now there is very little space in here. And the problem is, if you're going to try to install like an SSD as a second drive, or even a small hard drive as a second drive, there's very, very few places you can install it in here. In fact, I've only found one place. Okay, here's what the inside looks like. Over here is for your graphics card. You have PCI, PCIe, your fan. Now, your CPU is underneath this big metal plate under the fan. This only has a couple extra connections here, which is very short away from the other drive down here. So it only has a couple connections. I did install this cable myself for an extra hard drive or for an SSD. Now when installing that, it literally sits right here. I mean, right here. There's nowhere else to put that. To open this up, lift up here. You can see a slide down here. There's a like bolt thing here. This slides over. You can see there's a big hole there. I hope you can see that. There's the hard drive. Now under here is your RAM. Under here is your CPU. It's pretty easy to work on one of these, but there's not a lot of room. And once again, over here is for your graphics card. Always install it in the blue one if you can. I mean, I'm sure a graphics card will fit in either one of these, but I have tested a card in the blue slot and it works great. Like I said, here's your RAM. Make sure you have 8 gigabytes. Under here is your CPU. When cleaning this comes right out. Just slide it out and set it to the side over here. Unscrew your screws, back to front, back to front. Do not unscrew both sides at one time. Go like cross. Lift that up, clean it up, put your new thermal paste on there. When installing it back in, make sure the little clips here go through in the right place. And putting the drive back in, there's some small divots here. Set that back down. Grab this here. Pull that away. That is now locked into place. Take that, set it down, and slide forward. That's it. Now I did put this cable in myself for an external SSD. This cable is very small, coming from right here to where your hard drive plugs in. It's like maybe 1.5 inches away from there, so there's not a lot of room. So if you want an SSD or something in here, it literally will have to set over everything else, and you will have to put a cable like this in here. So you can see there is no graphics card, and it played all that without a graphics card. Now this does have LAN on the back, a LAN plug. It does not have Wi-Fi. If you want Wi-Fi, you can buy a small Wi-Fi toggle for next to nothing. It doesn't have to be super expensive. I would definitely recommend some type of speakers, because this does have a small speaker in it, but it's super low. So even with your sound turned all the way up, it is not very loud. Now, once again, Dell Optiplex 790. The thing is literally smaller than my hand is wide. I mean, think about that. As you can see, I do have Windows on here. I would suggest, if you have to buy a card or want to buy a card for this, make sure it is a G or DDR5 card. You have to have a low profile card to fit in here. Usually they come with low profile brackets. You will need them. Now, if you're buying a card like this, give me a second. You may have to buy an adapter, especially if it's used, because some of these cards only have like a DVI or mini HDMI plug, which is what this card has. So let me show you what the adapter looks like. Now, you can find these used, literally with everything you need. Here's some adapters here. Right here. Now let's get back to the card. Make sure that is, I believe that is male. When you buy a card, just make sure yeah, this has DVI and mini HDMI, so you will need an adapter unless you buy one that already has adapters. Now there are some used that you can find cheaper than that. I mean, here's one for $24. Now this has the adapter with it for both the DVI and the mini HDMI. You can see. So you have to make sure your DVI connector is the male to female, which is right here. That will be female for the VGA. And let me see if I can find. And this would be male on the other end of the adapter to go into here. So this is a male on the inside, female here, male here. Okay, now this is like $24.99. This is GDDR5, but this is used. If you can buy a new one, great. I would do that. Once again, this is about this computer and what you can and can't do. So, like I said, I did show Xbox. That's CXBX Reloaded. GameCube, PlayStation 2. How much is this computer worth as it sits? Okay, if you found one that's the i3 or higher, and you want it just for like playing Xbox games, certain Xbox games, not all, some PlayStation 2, some GameCube, some other games. If you can find one of these for $100 or cheaper, it'd be a good deal. If you can find one of these like at Goodwill for like 35 bucks, it'd be a great deal. So, you know, that's up to you. I'm not saying buy one. I never tell people to buy anything. But that's up to you if you want to play stuff like this. Now remember, CXBX, the Xbox emulator, only runs certain games. and only a certain format, which is the XBE format. Now, I have not checked all games, even though their list may say compatible. That doesn't mean all games on their list are going to be compatible with your system. Let's see. Let's just find one. Never checked this one, so I don't know about this. Yeah. Like I said, not all Xbox games are going to be compatible with this emulator or even this computer. But having 8 gigabytes of RAM or more is a must. You're not going to play this on 4 gigs of RAM to where it'll play half smoothly. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, vibrations are on. Okay, I apologize. I just wanted to get some of this stuff in. Um, of course, if you're my age, you know exactly what this is. And since I'm doing with this with one hand, I'm like going to die very easily. Because like one finger over here and then one button here, I am going to so die. Okay, that's enough. Alright, I hit a ESC to escape that because I cannot play this with one hand. Of course, you saw the game. That is an Xbox game. Now, when you close this down, close XBE and exit. So, what can you play on this? Some PC games, some, but not all, Xbox games, only at XBE format. And you're probably going, okay, where the hell can I find XBE games? Alright, I'm going to show you. Now, once you're on Internet Archive, just pick anything down here. It's irrelevant. Just, like put on TV, whatever. It doesn't matter. You want this search bar to show up over here. Then capital X B E, enter, and right here this is where you can get your games. Now I'm going to show you how to get games and go through here. You don't want torrents unless you want the entire thing. I don't know how big these are, but go to show all. All right, and pick a game. Now make sure it's compatible with that emulator. And you back click. Let me find a very small game. Back click, save link as. Now I'm not going to do that because I don't want to spend time downloading this when I don't know if the game's compatible with this emulator. But that's how you save your games. Make sure they're compatible with CXBX. If you're wanting to play Xbox on this machine, now I've seen several people, put graphics cards in here, update, the processor, the RAM. 8 gigabytes of RAM is a necessity for running Xbox, running PlayStation 2. You need more than 4 gigs of RAM. A graphics card, even a GT. Let's see if I can find the right one. I actually have some graphics cards bookmarked because I really want to get one, but we were paying on my girlfriend's bills, and we don't have the money right now. All right, the GT GeForce NVIDIA GeForce GT 730, 2 gigabyte, but make sure it is DDR5, low profile. You have to have a low profile card to fit in this. That is one of the cheapest ways you're going to get gaming. Will that card play a lot of online games off of Steam? No. You possibly could with the settings turned down. I don't know. I don't play Steam or online games. I don't play games where literally I have to use a keyboard. My fingers do not work that way. So I could not tell you. Look up the card on YouTube here and see what other people have done as far as showing the graphics card and what it can and can't do. Now, mine here also has the DVD writer. Now, if you don't need a DVD writer, you can always get one of those hidden hard drive caddies to put here with an extra hard drive, a slim hard drive, or SSD. If you don't want your SSD or extra hard drive just sitting on stuff like that, you can do that. Anyway, I am so sorry this video is super long. Once again, you can play certain things on here as long as you have 8 gigs of RAM. It's an i3. I will show you exactly what this is before I go. Here's the display adapter. Now, the processors. So, I'm telling the truth. I do not have any graphics card. This is what's on here. So that's it. Now you know what games it can play or what kind of stuff it can play. I did start a couple PC games. Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 6. I have some other stuff on here that's fine. I have like Gunmetal on here. It's up to you. Oh, I did not start the PSP, but it does run PSP perfectly fine. That is a lot lower level than a lot of this other stuff. Let's get that picture a little bit bigger, shall we? Yeah, I apologize I did not go through this earlier. This is PSP. As you can see, it runs just fine. Um, so everything runs on this computer except for Dreamcast. I did um, tell you how to fix that problem. You actually have to use Launchbox and install Launchbox on the hard drive. Remember, the Dolphin emulator I'm using for GameCube is 3.5. So it is an older version, but it works great on here. And that's about it. So, um, gaming on this machine, as is, once again, 8 gigabytes of RAM. You may have to buy RAM. Once you do, you can play things like Xbox, PlayStation 2. I don't know about PlayStation 3. I'm really not um, experienced when it comes to PS3 emulation. But, you know, a lot of things work on here. Is it worth the money if you buy one of these? That's up to you. Now, see, personally, I traded for this a couple controllers that I have, and to help somebody set up and get them some retro gaming going on their Windows 10 computer. They were having some issues. So, helping them get some retro gaming, a couple of controllers, and this is an old computer they had just sitting underneath a desk. So, you know, worked out for both of us. I got a new toy to play with, something to show you, and they got some retro games and a couple of controllers to play those games. Like I said, it's up to you. This is the Dell Optiplex 790. I recommend a cheap graphics card because CXVX only plays one format, and some games don't work correctly, while other games don't work at all. Xemu, XEMU, has more gameplay as far as games, easier to work with, easier to set up. If you have Xemu, you will need the BIOS, the boot ROM image, and pre-built Xbox HDD image. You will need all three of those to play games on here. But once you have those and send an emulator to it, it works great. But this emulator will not work without OpenGL. This computer does not have OpenGL, so nothing that absolutely requires OpenGL will work on this. That's another reason a graphics card comes in handy, such as the NVIDIA card that I showed you. It has OpenGL, and it will let you play a lot more stuff. Okay, that's it. I'm fixing to go. This is a 50-minute video. I apologize for the length of this one. But this is the Optiplex 790. This is the i3. The i5 is much better, of course, with no graphics card. This is just the Intel HD graphics. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I try my best to answer any questions that are asked of me. And I hope this video is bright enough. If not, I do apologize. Anyway, that's it. Everyone have a nice day or night. Bye.